Well, I can say this trip's starting off well. So pretty much get fuel starvation and I have to stop on big hills. It's now time to remove the front fuel tank. Okay, so tank's out. Doesn't actually look very rusty, which is intriguing. However, it has got all kinds of rubbish inside it. The rust that was in the fuel filter could actually be from the rear tank that was replaced. The problem's not as great as I thought, but at least I now know that that's not a problem. Alright, so time to try and flush out this tank. It's as windy as shit, which is a bit of fun, but supposed to do this outside. Might be a little hard to see, but we'll go with it. It's there, trust me. Yes, it has occurred to me that this fuel that I'm using is the fuel that came out of here and is also probably contaminated. Alright, so the little bit of sediment and stuff that's in there, I can't seem to move. It doesn't want to float. Looks very metallic, so it's just going to have to sit at the bottom and see what happens. I have considered trying to pick it up with a rag or something like that, but I also don't want to end up losing a rag into the tank. Unless I run a really long rag, so I can at least pull that back out. So I might actually consider that now that I've spoken out loud about that and see what I can do. Don't buy cheap tools. Okay, so my solution is a single bed sheet. If I can lose an entire single bed sheet into a 50 litre fuel tank, I think I'd deserve the punishment of buying a new one. Up that so far. A couple of days have passed and had delivery. 2 in fact. So got a little bit of free time in between now and an appointment, so I'm going to give it a crack and try and get at least a little bit of progress, and on the way to the appointment stop and pick up, get more parts. First things first, let's try and get a breather hose back on. Maybe a fuel filler hose as well. To do that I probably need to cut off that zip tie. It's going to be a pick of a job. Or not. Perfect. Nice new filler hose. Trying to get it to this line here if I can, which is a hell of a process. Well, that is incredibly tight. Got about 2 inches in, 1 3/4 inches. I'm not too worried about that 1/2 inch. I'm going to work on the theory of put the tip in and see how it feels. Ideally it'd go on a lot further than this. I know this is a common problem with series front tank hoses from what I've read. The one that I took off had a hell of a kink in it. Definitely had this issue before, so it's not just me. This is our front pump. This is the one that I believe to have the issue. The filter actually looks really, really good. Okay, so on the light, maybe it's not. I've got another seal to go in here, and I've got another filter. But my word, that is full of crap. Don't lose the magnet. Seal. In the interest of doing things the wrong way around, I'm just going to give it a quick clean before I put it back together. Pumping. Upon looking at this filter, I'm actually inclined to think that possibly wasn't doing its job properly, because if I sit it on the dash, you can see there's quite a space underneath it. Everything's back together, and now the time has come to try put some fuel in. Let's see how that goes for me. And of course this is indeed the fuel that I drained from the tank, so in the interest of being a complete scumbag, I'm going to try and filter it. I don't know how these filters are going to like it. They're actually Chemex coffee filters. If there's ever any doubt about the need to filter that gas, I think I just eliminated it. You can see by how slow that's filtering just how clogged that filter actually is. Time to hook up a battery and see if we've got any leaks. He's in. Front tank. Not in gear. Well, is in gear. The pump is ticking. Yes, and amongst some of the other things that have stopped working when I've been buying parts, finally putting in some new window washer jets. By jets I mean one. I could only get one, and for some silly reason I've decided that it would be sensible to try and pull the dash out just for one jet. I haven't really thought this through all that well, but here we go anyway. Like everything on an old Land Rover, it's corroded, so give it a bit of love first and see what happens. After exploring a lot of options getting this jet out, I found a solution. And the solution is not pretty, but there is a hole. It's a nice, perfect factory hole. And now I can carefully reach up in here and remove a jet that just would not budge. Hopefully this one goes in easier. That's factory. Alright, so I've managed to create some creepage and get it plumbed in how it should be. Well, that was a fail. But that wasn't. Right, fuel filter time. Here we have our old filter. Bowl isn't too bad. Not too much crap inside it. Might give it a quick spray up. No leaks. Much wind. So it's the next day, and one thing occurred to me after I put everything back together. I don't remember hooking up the vent hose. I've just gone through and tested it, and indeed I haven't. Whoops. You can see, there's absolutely no way I can reach that heater hose with the dash top off, so I probably didn't actually need to remove it. I've pulled the dash cover off and got it connected up, so now I can put back on the things that I didn't need to. So that's a bit of entertainment for the day. All back together. Twice. And really impressed to say that the only spare part left over was an optional extra. And of course the hose that I've thrown in the rubbish. I think the dash is actually fitting the best it has in the whole time I've owned it. And the twice that I've had it out, so maybe that was a sign. But it's a Land Rover, so there's plenty of other rattles that I still need to work out what they are. Maybe the dash was never one of them. Right, so it's like 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and I'm sitting down editing, and so that's just reminded me when I'm reviewing the footage that I discovered why all the water was leaking down the inside of the window. And I've worked out how to fix it. I couldn't fix it on the side of the road in Iowa when it was raining, because some pack and save shopper, I imagine, has seam sealed the gutter and sealed up the drain. But then, in their infinite wisdom, drilled a rivet out directly above the side windows. So I'm going out armed with my drill to quickly drill it out, because I only notice this issue when it rains, and we've got rain forecast for the next few days, and I'm going away this weekend, and I really don't want to deal with it again. So if my neighbours didn't think that I'm a lunatic already, this is really going to cement it for them. So let's go. Look at that, who knew? Land Rover actually did something correctly. Just here, because it's really easy to see things like this in the dark. Here we have a hole, which shouldn't be there. So, that was a nice easy fix. Easy now, but in the pouring rain on the side of the road, trying to push that seam sealer out with my keys, it just was not having it, so that solved the problem, and I'll probably end up riveting that hole back up. A rivet should do the job. If it doesn't, I'll drill it out and buy some seam sealer. If someone else can do a scumbag fix, then so can I, and I can at least see if it works.